evening, good morning, good day, good night, good whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome back to Humanitarian Chronicles. This is Rasta Doc, Dr. David Osamla, Dr. David Doc, or no longer Silver Fox for some reason. One day I'll tell you, maybe not. Welcome back to the show. This is the home of humanitarian stories, where we tell the stories of emergency responders, humanitarians, frontline workers, and basically anybody who has gone through the traumas of working in places that are of risk to life or risk to their own lives as a sacrifice to help other people. Today we have a special guest, but before that, I am Broken Souls. Broken Soul, number one, the OG Broken Soul, the broken of the brokenest of souls. That one, whatever I've said. So basically, this is where we talk about the things that we've gone through as humanitarians. Today we have a special guest all the way from South Sudan. I told you this show is international. We are going out of Kenya. We keep saying that broken souls, not just broken souls in Kenya. Broken souls are basically people who have trauma all over the world. The systems are basically the same. The health systems, the mental health systems specifically are the same. Remember, this is May, the month of mental health awareness. So we are going to be talking a lot with my colleague here, my friend, my very good brother, about mental health issues, because it is very important to make sure that we touch on this. Yesterday I was on a call on X Space, and one of the speakers said, the problem with mental health is that you can't see it. When somebody punches you, can see it. You get hurt, you can see it. You can see a swelling, you can see a bruise, you can see a cut or a wound. But you can't see mental health. So when someone says, I'm having depression, or I'm having stress, or I'm having PTSD, or I'm having trauma, you can't see it. So you might think he's joking, she's joking, she's making it up, or it's psychosomatic, or they're pretending. For whatever reason, people brush off mental health issues. And the second thing is that people then assume that mental health, the moment you mention that word, it becomes very discriminated, it becomes very stigmatized. People are afraid of talking about it. People want to stay away from it. Employers and employees alike, people at home, family members want to stay away from mental health issues, because then they say you're mad, which is possibly true for some of us, and the guy behind the camera. But today, as I said, we have a very special guest, and before we welcome him, I want to offer him tea or coffee, because in Kenya we're very hospitable, and in South Sudan the same. So I learned a lot from him. I will be talking about him very, very soon. You've seen him in the book. If you haven't read the book, then Paul Sana, read the book. I talked about him also in one of the podcasts on the show. And wait, have you subscribed, liked, shared, and commented, engaged with us on email? There will be a link in the description. There will be a link tree where you can see everything that we have, everything that we do, and the silly things on TikTok and Instagram, they're also there. So we are doctors, but sometimes we are also not doctors necessarily, because the thing that needs to be doctored is not working. You will have that ability to contact us and engage with us. Please comment, please speak to us, give us your feedback, give us your thoughts, give us what you think can be done better, what can be done worse. We can make things bad if you want us to make them bad. We don't mind. It's a free country, so what you want is what we give you, but we won't make it bad, we'll make it good. Today we have a special guest, my very, very good brother. We worked with him in South Sudan for close to 5 years. So of the 6 years I was in South Sudan, basically I was with him for 5 of those years, and we've basically tagged along in organizations with him together. This gentleman is called Sirius. No, that's not his name. He's called Silas, but somebody from a particular community in Kenya decided that his name should be Sirius because of how he was pronouncing his name, and he wrote his name in one of the documents as Sirius. This is Silas. So Silas will tell us about himself. But before he does that, let us welcome him with probably a cup of coffee. Coffee or tea? Tea for you?
Tea, yeah.
Tea, because you want to sleep. I'll take coffee because me, I sleep regardless. Either way, I'll wake up at 3 in the morning. So even if I sleep at 2, I wake up at 3. If I sleep at 10, I'm good with not sleeping because I don't.
Okay.
So, karibu sana Silas. Wait and see. There's something I want to show you also as we are welcoming Silas to magical Kenya with magic. Please, Kikombe, do magic. If you don't do magic, you'll embarrass me, and I don't want embarrassment in our country. It's going to do. You just wait. Meanwhile, mine is already magical. It just came white. It didn't have any colors or any magic. Now the water is pouring out. Why are you embarrassing me, Bwana? You were doing well before we started the show. We even rehearsed. Kettle, we rehearsed. You can see. Let me also stir for him so that we this is Kenyan tea, by the way, just so you know. Silas is Kenyan
nice.
tea. If you never tasted Kenyan tea, you're tasting today. So
happy to have a sip.
Thank you. Welcome, Silas. It's an honor to have you here on the show, for you to tell us your story, so that from your heart to their hearts. They can hear what it is you've gone through, what struggles you might have gone through, what pain you might have endured or encountered, and how you're hiding it, how you're coping with it. The mask that you're wearing, today you want to take it off just a bit, because it is Mental Health Awareness Month. We want to be able to let people know and be aware of some of the mental health issues that we struggle through as humanitarians. Silas Wani, tell us who you are, so that we get to know you, so that they get to know you at home, and they know that I'm not lying, that you're South Sudanese. He has no accent, but for some reason.
Yeah, all right, okay. Thanks so much, Doc, for welcoming me to the Humanitarian Chronicles. My names are what you rightfully pronounced, Silas, or you can call me Wani. Yeah, I live and work in South Sudan. And I have been in this humanitarian space for close to 2 decades now.
Wow.
Yeah, for close to 2 decades. So a lot happens in this space. For someone that has never been there, or for someone that has never stepped into that space, it looks like a bed of roses, like an environment where everything is rosy, everything is fun. It's happiness, but that's not the case, because where we deliver humanitarian activities is an environment that really describe what it is. We're serving communities that needed those dire services that must ensure that they are able to cope up with whatever circumstances that have led them to where they found themselves in. Yeah.
Nice. For those at home, Silas Wani Hanawana, so they understand. You're not childish.
Okay.
Sometimes you are, but yeah. I'm more childish than you are, so we'll say that you're not childish as compared to. So your 8 to 5 is basically humanitarian work. That's what you do on a daily basis, Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
You're in the office. What are you doing on a daily basis? You walk into the office. What does Silas do?
So on a daily basis for the past couple of years that I have been in that space. Okay, just to add that I'm a public health specialist. But by my foundational training, I was a nurse who opted out of the nursing career into community health, public health space, and that's where I am right now. So in the public health space right now, where I am, brings in a lot of programming around awareness creation, health education. I can think about health education because the particulars of the course I pursued in public health on health promotion. Yeah, but then public health is a diverse discipline. A lot happens in there. Disease prevention, also response. In the past years, I have participated in quite a number of disease preparedness into response over the recent pandemic that befell the entire world. So within this sphere of public health, I think over the years I have stepped into more of coordination and program management, and to support the colleagues who are still stepping into the public and guide them into how best they can function as public health officers or as even specialists. So that's what I basically do in that space. As a public health specialist.
Awesome.
On a day-to-day basis.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Oh, just so you know, we are not in South Sudan at the moment. We are in Nairobi. So that's why I can serve him tea here, because it's in my country. If you refuse tea, you'll see. And I'm joking. Maybe not. We worked with Silas in South Sudan. Before we met in Juba and worked in Juba. Silas was in the field. I was in Juba. We would go to the field together. You remember this kettle? There's a kettle at the back of the book. You'll see this kettle that is broken and it's leaning somewhere on the wall, boiling water. That was in Silas's office. I think they broke it and they couldn't buy another one. We had to fight. It was a big fight. Not fight with him. We had to fight with him so that the organization could buy him a new kettle. it didn't cost much, but for some reason, bureaucracy and all that kind of stuff, you could get a kettle for almost 2 years. Imagine. So the kettle was always leaning like this. It was broken. Basically, 3/4 was broken. So you had to lean it like this, boil water, pour out, boil water. So it was basically half a cup per time that was being boiled. It's just some of the struggles we go through. And then you still have to go and do your work and come back and use that kettle to boil your water and maybe cook some of your meals. You'd see the egg boiling in there because that's what was boiling, also eggs. I want us to talk about, we've talked about family, talked about our support structures, because family is very important for us. I remember in Ukraine, this one time when 2 missiles passed over the building, and I knew that was the day. I knew that day I knew I was gone. I went, sat in the toilet with my quick run bag in case the building came down, wrote my family, you know what, if you don't hear from me in the next 1 hour, thank you very much, I love you. And my sister remembers still today how that morning was.
I'm sure you must have left them panicking.
They panicked a bit. But no, immediately things calmed down. I was back to life, and I wrote, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm around, don't worry, relax. So they're like, oh, phew, thank you. But nevertheless, it's always important to remember and appreciate the short moments, the few moments when there's nothing volatile happening, because things can change anytime. And when they change, then people struggle. When we struggle, then that's when our trauma increases. That's when we struggle a bit more or a lot more. And that's when family, friends, communities that we go back to, that we can run back to, that we can have as backup, then become very important because they're people we always think of in our minds as those who support us. Again, Mental Health Awareness Month, very important to bring these things out because the systems sometimes don't support us. And we'll talk about that very shortly in a few minutes. Before we get to that, do you have a passion project, something you do outside of your normal day-to-day work as a humanitarian? Anything you do outside of that maybe is something that you do. I'm a motorbike rider. I don't know about you. I know you do ride, but I don't know whether you ride on a regular scale, or you ride it as a hobby, or you do it for charity. We ride for impact and with a group of friends, including that guy behind the camera who is pretending I don't ride. He does. So what is your passion project? What do you do that is something either charitable or that you feel you do for community as Silas or as a group, a collective of people?
Okay, so something that I do outside of my routines, the work that takes me to office and what I do outside office is usually when I have some window of a moment to myself. I like to document some of the stories that I've also passed through. And where do I share them? I share some of those stories on my LinkedIn and so on.
I've seen those, yeah.
Yeah, and the reason I do that is also to create the impression out there, also for anyone else that is thinking about stepping to this space, or someone that has not gone through, to know that there are certain experiences that humanitarians go through. Although I don't do that quite often, because then much of my time is used up on quite a lot what I do on a regular basis. Yeah, so I think that is one thing that is in me. Every single moment that I get, I just sit down to write a few articles. Some of them I share, some of them a lot that I've also not shared. And I also started working on a book that in the coming year or so, I might get it out there. When I'm not engaged, say on a weekend or in the evenings, and when I feel I'm fresh enough to do that, I sit to craft a few pages of such documents, and if I deem it necessary, I share that on my social media. I'm not so much on quite a number of those platforms, but yeah. And on LinkedIn, that's where I share some of those stories. So communicating out there what I think is necessary for the people to know, is what I do, because I know such stories inspires people who may not have had these experiences, or those that are aspiring. The generation that is coming behind us needs to know what they expect to face in life. So that's what I do outside of my normal routines, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's amazing, because we need to share those stories. As you said at the beginning, people assume it's a bed of roses. Sometimes they see us smiling, laughing. We come back home from mission, we look like everything is okay. It's because we are hiding the pain. Again, we can't just come and get from the airport or get from the bus from the mission and be like, oh, it's been bad for us. And then you have come to meet us. So how does that feel for you? So let's talk about trauma. Well, Mental Health Awareness Month, we need to talk about these things. We need to bear them out. For those who saw the TikTok live and what I posted on YouTube after that, I was basically bearing out my depression, my attempted suicide, or stupidly attempted suicide by not trying to kill myself, trying to get other people to do it for me, or trying to get Ebola to catch me, it refused. Trying to get bombed, it refused. Trying to get shot, it refused. So, sometimes you can be such a failure in life that even dying becomes a problem. I think it's good when you fail to die. But yeah, so that's where I was.
Maybe there's a purpose you're meant to...
Maybe. I hope so.
Accomplish,
we're certainly going to purpose. So tell us, Silas, there's something you went through that I know of. I know of both instances, but one of them I was very close to. I just did not know it was happening as it was happening, but I was part of it. The next part of trying to heal. If you don't mind, and whatever you can tell us, if you feel okay, maybe just take us through what happened in brief at the office, and then the next one, what happened then, and how you coped. Because I need people to hear how we cope sometimes when the systems don't work for us, when the systems are not available. Unfortunately, they're not. They are available on paper. The people have documents and they have policies that allegedly should be implemented but are not implemented. So take us through, if you don't mind, maybe one or two incidences or more, whatever you can tell us, again, so that we glean as much as possible from your experiences. So,
all right. Thank you once again, Dev, for this moment to interact. I know it's important to share some of these stories, as I had hinted earlier on, that the society or the communities we work with learn from some of these stories, and then they are able to cope up. Perhaps someone went through similar experiences, and then they didn't know how to cope with it, or maybe they think no one else has ever experienced such, and they thought probably that's something that they're living with it. We did say that mental health issues, some of them are noticeable, some of them are not. So people live with it, and they're trying to find a way to cope up with it, but it's eating them up internally. So just to share with you a few stories, like I had said, a number of them happens. And to take it from the perspective of the angles where these issues are happening from, one of them is actually from the beneficiaries of the program that you're delivering. Several have happened that if you're not able to absorb such pressure, you can easily quit your job at that particular moment, especially those that you're implementing away from home. You might want to just leave the following minute. Some of them could be context related, where you're moving along the way, and then you get an encounter with, say, people who end up picking up valuables from you and things like that. But also not to forget that some of these mental health issues are really brought about by the people we work with. In a context where someone is not keen or is not sensitive to the feelings of another, and every time you're having a conversation, the messages that comes from him are negatively impacting on your personal mental health space. To talk about one that happened to me personally, and that was way back in my career. I can say when I was a beginner, we had an instance. We were going out to one of the communities we were serving, an IDP, for that matter, and what we were going for was just some consultation to consult with the community on a few programmatic issues. But then our arrival was perceived negatively by the members of that particular community. The thinking was that we were going to remove some important gadgets that were installed in the community. We had a cordon radio that was installed in that IDP camp for purposes of referral, to facilitate referral of severe cases that cannot be handled in that particular facility, so that they can be taken to a main hospital for further management. So upon arrival, I think someone took a message to a committee and said, these people have come to pick up this cordon radio. And so the radio was actually now removed from the health facility and taken to the community center. So instead of this cordon radio being used to facilitate these referrals, the channels were already changed, and it was being used to facilitate private communication. Yeah, of course, it was something that was not right, but at that particular moment, you couldn't just come to this community and say you want to remove this. It's a process. So we were harassed. We were almost beaten. That was my first experience working in an environment like that, and I sweated.
I can imagine.
Yeah, I sweated because almost the whole community was coming to where we are, and with sticks and stuff like that. Yeah, until we identified a few of them amongst themselves, and then talked to them and to tell them that this is not what we were coming to. This is not what we are coming to pick. We have some issues we want to address with you. It's also for your own good. That was how they were reassured and ended up leaving. And then we now have the leadership of that particular IEDP camp. And it was so traumatizing to me, for that matter. And when we left, it was difficult for me in the following days, the following weeks, to sort of schedule and follow-up activity in that particular camp. Because then I thought anything could happen. Anything could happen, yeah. But eventually, now being a bigger team at the time implementing this project, we were able to come back, and we blended. We continued to deliver our services smoothly until the project in that particular location ended. So what I was trying to say here is that in this humanitarian response, even the people you serve can turn to be aggressive to you, or the service providers or the agencies that are delivering these services. So you can imagine that you're facing this aggression, but you still have to continue to deliver because you also have a passion. Sometimes the people that are turning to be very aggressive to you are actually not the direct beneficiaries of these services, because then the health services that are delivered mainly are very, very crucial for the children and then the women that are giving birth to those children, and then the pregnant mothers that needed those antenatal care services. Yeah, so I can actually say that was my first experience that gave me a bit of trauma back in the years. Yeah, but I I overlived it. I outlived it over the years, and yeah, that went off my mind. But you can imagine, I can still remember it today. And when I got back to my desk where I was working, I had expected to have someone at least to talk to, but then nothing of that sort happened. What I was told was instead to report this case to the authority, and something I really thought was not necessary, because at the time I was so scared of moving out of my space where I was working. So then, yeah, I had to follow, because those were regulations in that environment. So I did that, and yet the following day I was set for a travel. Overnight I gathered myself, and because the purpose of that travel was really crucial, that I couldn't turn it down, I still picked myself up and went for the travel. But as I was traveling, that thing continued to ring in my mind, until a moment that I almost left my bag in the airstrip where we landed in the location where we went. For about 4 days before I returned to the city, and then I wasn't really comfortable, because the thing kept torturing me. Although I was given a bit of a time to go home and recover from that incident, I really didn't have anybody to talk to. It was not until a month or two when I was linked up with some mental health support experts. Then I was wondering why that had to happen, because it wasn't timely. The time I needed it, then there was no person that I was available for me to talk to. Much more later, when I was already recovering on my own, was when I was introduced. I nearly turned it down, but yeah, I opted to take the sessions with them. So what I was saying is that basically response time is critical, because when you find yourself in such an incident, what happens is that you lose your mind, you lose your focus. You may not want to take up some decisions, or some decisions that you might take may never be a good one. Because what would have happened at the time was for me to say, I think I don't want to stay here anymore. Where would I go then? You know, that was where I was working and to earn my living, and it was necessary that I stayed. And so in such circumstances, if you have someone to talk to, someone that could have guided you through, that means I could have recovered faster and resumed my normal activities. Yeah, so these traumatic experiences are real, and they really require some system that should be able to come into play, that can be triggered in a moment, and then you have someone to talk to, someone to get you through the decisions that we will be making. So there are quite a lot of experiences that we could share. Some of them far away from the city, in the project areas where we deliver. I did hint about work-related factors. In an environment you're working with, it could be a colleague at work, it could be a supervisor. But for my own case, I was once asked by colleagues, how do you manage working with your boss? And yeah, for me, I am one person that copes up with a situation, because if I step into doing something, or if I get recruited for some work, for that matter, I know I have a task to deliver. I have a job description to deliver, so my focus is on delivering that. I'll do it in the way they require me to do it, and then nobody would have a problem with that. So in an environment that maybe there are petty issues, or there are individual issues that are contributing to such mental health related concerns, I've always found my way out by trying to play cool, avoiding such. And I've always interacted. There hasn't been any moment that I clashed with my colleagues at work, a supervisor or subordinates, because I wasn't able to control my emotions that have triggered moments like that. In instances that I think an environment is not safe for me, I would prioritize my mental health, and I pull back, or I opt to stay away. I have had a moment like that, so I've had to make that decision to leave, because then I did my own calculations within me to say the person that I interacted with that probably would have helped to address these issues was not in play. And the stories I've had about this particular fella for over years, and he's been there for 3 or 4 years, to mean that such characters are being tolerated. Excuse me, I have a bit of a cough. So, I mean, if you step into a space and then you're finding such behaviors are being condoned in a workspace, thank you. Yeah, what that means is that no matter how much you pull out yourself as an individual to try to go against it, you might not succeed, or you might instead crush yourself up. So for me, if I go to this such a space and I feel that my concerns are not going to be addressed adequately, I pull myself from such a. That's how I've been coping up with some of these issues that would have triggered mental health related concerns. Yeah, so those are a few experiences that I've gone through in my life, career, and stuff like that.
Wow. Silas, that's a lot.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's heavy, and of course, it's unfortunate that the system wasn't able to support you adequately.
Yeah.
I remember after the incident you talked about at the office, I actually sent you home.
Yeah.
It was a bit of a struggle even with HR to explain, but I said no, I'm his supervisor. He needs to go home and deal with the issues and start to cope as we figure out the support for mental health from the insurance company, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I remember it was a very unfortunate that we didn't have mental health support, not within the office, not within the insurance company. It came, as you say, a month or more later, when already you are kind of already coping with it. Yeah, sometimes you in those spaces and you tend to be too strong that you don't feel. And the problem is we sometimes transport that home, and then you get home and your kids are crying, or your spouse is complaining about something, and you don't feel what they're going through because you've conditioned yourself to disconnect so hard that you don't necessarily connect with reality sometimes. And I think it's not a very good place to be, because then our life becomes that way. We cover ourselves so much, we put on that mask too hard sometimes, and we don't relate with other people. And I guess that's probably what makes people struggle a lot, even in sometimes understanding us, even us understanding ourselves, because it becomes a different reality for us. We disconnect and we detach from our realities, and we are now a different person in the field and a different person at home. And sometimes it becomes one confusing mashup of things. You get home and I see the responder. That responder does not feel pain. That responder does not feel emotions. That responder should not show emotions when they're at work. We come back home and we're in that mood, and it takes us long to come out of it. Sometimes you only have 1 week leave. In that 1 week, before you recover, you're back to work.
Yeah,
so you prefer to stay in that mood as long as you can, so that you don't have to struggle with emotional stuff. Wow, that's heavy. That's heavy. Again, mental health awareness. We need to make sure that we are talking about these things, so that the systems that should be there are put in place. You spoke about the issue of the debriefing after the incident, and even during the incident, rather shortly after the incident. That's what Broken Souls has been fighting for. That's what Humanitarian Chronicles fights for every single day when we tell these stories, so people get aware. Broken Souls comes to figure out how do we bridge that gap between the before incident, during the incident, and after the incident. There should be a continuum of care in mental health. As you go into mission, before you go in, somebody should prepare you mentally before you go into mission. During the mission, you're there, you're struggling, somebody should be available for you, so that as it is happening and you need help, somebody can support you. Of course, there are tools. I remember rolling out some tools from WHO, the self-help package. You can go and scan a QR code, tells you how to breathe in, breathe out, how many times to breathe in, breathe out, what to do, and calm yourself down. Self-regulation can happen. Sometimes it's overwhelming. You can't self-regulate. At that moment, who do you call? Who do you talk to? And it's not Ghostbusters. You don't call Ghostbusters, because at that moment your ghosts are too many for you. You can't handle them. And then after mission, when you get out of mission, who debriefs you? Who do you talk to? That's the same question somebody asked me. Victor asked me a few weeks ago. You're the last line of defense in the field as humanitarians, as medical workers, or as military, whoever it is. Who is your line of defense? Who do we lean back on? That line of defense is missing some parts or missing entirely. That's what we're looking at. So Broken Souls look to bring in broken souls like you, and we are going to ask you about that just shortly, so that we come together and talk in these spaces. And the things that we can't speak about in public, then we have our space separately that is private, where we can just come and talk. I remember with you, we just started to sit and discuss the stuff we went through emotionally, and that's how we were supporting each other. But we're not supporting each other as mental health specialists. We're supporting each other as colleagues, as friends, as brothers. And we'd just go sometimes to that place where we had samosas, and we'd sit and just have a beer and a samosa and speak the whole afternoon. Nothing in particular, but it would help us at least go back into the week, and we were kind of rejuvenated, rebooted a bit, and then go and collect more trauma, meet on the weekend, drink some more, come back. Luckily, we're not drunkards, I hope. But unfortunately, many don't cope like that. Many end up overcompensating and coping too much in this kind of stuff that helps them forget. But you forget for a while, you come back and you still remember, and then you pick more things. So we need to find a way, and that's what we are looking for. That's what Broken Souls is creating, a space where people can come without judgment. I know what I've gone through. You know what you've gone through. Some of us have gone through, like you and I have gone through similar situations, and we can talk and let's say, you know what, I don't sleep at night, or I get scared at night, or I have nightmares, and you will relate because you have the same scenario. So you won't judge me the same way that I hope I don't judge you. And then you're able to get it off your chest. When you need to, we go to a psychologist, psychiatrist, therapist, counselor, whoever it is, or you go for prayers, whichever the case may be. Now, let's talk about Broken Souls. Silas, how do you know about Broken Souls? How did you meet Broken Souls? Is it because you met the OG Broken Soul? You knew him before the Broken Soul became broken? Or are you a broken soul yourself? Tell us about Broken Souls, your interaction. Are you broken? Are you fixing? Are you fixed? Or are you completely useless like some of us? I'm joking, mostly him. I'm not sorry.
So about how I got to know Broken Souls, I guess I follow you a lot on all your social media platforms, and every time you're posting, I'm not like you. I don't do so much posts.
You're more serious than I am.
I am more unserious than you are.
Maybe,
So I follow you a lot, and every little bit of piece of information that you put out there, I able to get this. So from the moment this idea was going through, I picked interest in trying to understand what it is really all about. Like I told you in the past that this seems to be building up into something bigger, documenting stories of humanitarians and creating that space that allows people to find someone to talk to whenever they need, got me into understanding this in details. And the day this book came out, The Broken Souls, I was able to see it right away, although it took me a bit of a time to interact with it. But eventually I got my copy, which I am somewhere midway reading through. The stories there are quite good for any person to learn from. Like I said, these stories are for us to create awareness, and some of them are also to inspire some of the experiences that are documented in that book. Helps one to restore, or it helps to restore hope, for that matter. No matter what situation that you're going through, there's still hope. The stories we've told. So I got to know about Broken Souls from actually the book that you've written. So anybody out there, I think it's important that you have a copy of this book, as Dr. David probably will provide how you'll be able to access this book, and I'm sure in Humanitarian Chronicles and in all his social media platforms, you're able to get a link that will direct you. But you can also actually reach out. These books are available out there that through a phone call, and something I encourage you to read through. It's quite a lot of information in it, but if you spare time, you'll be able to learn from it. So that's basically how I got to learn about Broken Souls. And thank you so much for coming up with that piece.
Wow, thank you.
Information,
Thank you. That's humbling to hear that it's a book that speaks to you, speaks to others. You know me a bit more than some of the viewers know me. We've worked together, we've interacted together in and out of work, even in terms of business and just as friends. And even you told me there are things in the book you didn't know about me. A lot of things that some of my family members didn't know about me until they saw in the book. Basically because of how I compartmentalize information. Now when the book was coming about, I began revealing a lot of it in the book, but not everything. But I appreciate that. But at the same time also, it's a matter of having this information out so that people know about it, as you said, so that more people understand. I inspired, if that is the case, that should be at any given time. You spoke about, I don't remember. You haven't told us if you're a broken soul yourself, because for those who might not know, Broken Souls is not just a book. Broken souls are basically those of us who've gone through trauma. We've been broken, we've been beat down, we've been hit, we've been hurt. And it's basically trying to see how we can bring together these people who've gone through these traumas. So if you look at yourself, Silas, are you a broken soul? Some of us are damaged goods. Like Kabisa. Have you ever seen a tomato that has been run over by a car, then stepped on by goats? And Franco. Franco is a story, we'll tell you one day. Franco is a sheep that decided to hit itself on our car one time as we were driving. So it's another story. I know you're not damaged good like me, but are you a broken soul? Are you somebody who feels the trauma that you've gone through has got you to a place where you might need support, or you might need a structure, or you might need a space where you can bring out, other than now, the podcast, or a public space, a private space where you cannot talk about the intimate things. The things we can't talk about here, I can't talk about, you can't talk about, not because we don't want to, but we just can't. They're too intimate, they're too close, they're too painful, but then you need a space, maybe even before you get to the psychologist or the therapist, a space where you have people who understand each other. So question is, are you a broken soul? And over to you.
Yes, I can say yes. Like I told you a couple of minutes ago that we had an interaction about mental health. And there's a lot that we've gone through in our lives, experiences because if I sit back to reflect as an individual in the past years of my life, you will, or I came to realize that there are things that should have worked in certain ways, or there are certain things that I should have accomplished, but for one or two reasons I haven't been able to accomplish. So that sort of creates a situation of worry, because sometimes you sit back and saying where you are now, where you sit, maybe at your age, there are certain things that you needed to have accomplished, but you have not yet accomplished them, and you obviously know the reasons why you haven't been able to accomplish them. So thoughts like that, if you do not have someone to talk to, someone to interact with, or someone to tell you that where you are actually better. I mean, I kept hearing from you talking about yourself being broken, almost beyond repair, but just to remind you that you're not. Someone else could be more broken than you. So I can tell you, if you sample a number of individuals from out there, just go to the streets of Nairobi or wherever you may go, and sit back, interact with them, you realize that each and everyone has one or two things that they are struggling with. And where they're not able to go over them, or where they're not able to come out of it or cope with it, is because we don't have these spaces, we don't have people to talk to. One of the things that I've always known helps me cope up is speaking out. And of course not to everybody. A few colleagues that I talk to regularly, that I open up to, for that matter. And sometimes the moment you speak up about these things, and then you also understand, oh, he is actually going through a similar experience. I'm not alone. Or probably his situation is worse than your own. So first of all, sharing that means you have released it a little bit, and you have should have created some relief in yourself. But again, that does not should have helped you recover completely from the feelings that have been going on in you, that is affecting your mental health. You know, some of these symptoms that makes you lose sleep, or not even remember certain things, certain important things that you need to remember. To say, if you have these spaces, like the idea you've come up with to ensure this information is out there, or these people are out there with just a click. In this information era, the smartphones are everywhere, the computers are everywhere, internet is everywhere. You don't have to travel to meet these people. You can organize such online or virtual conversation for you to be able to speak up to this person. And of course, these are professionals who knows how to get you through, to make you come out of the situation you're experiencing. So what I think is that this is a very good idea, and if we could continue to put together the opportunities that people can access to be able to kind of have this conversation. I know one of the things that is probably going to be tricky is a number of the professionals are out there, but they are also unable to provide these services pro bono. They might need to maybe a little bit of payment here and there. I know these are some of the impediments also to accessing these informations, but depending on how affordable these services are made, so that the individuals can access them, it really helps a lot. I want to believe that people can actually, in one way or the other, afford. And to say not all the service providers that you are piecing together are actually meant to provide these services at a fee, but also to have this wing of service providers that can help to some extent, even if a person is not able to
cover the costs.
Yeah, cover the cost, or maybe even cover the cost later, and something like that. So I think this idea is going to be a very helpful one, allowing this information access works out. So everyone get to know where these people are. But then with such platforms, it becomes much easier. So once again, to say thank you for this idea, Dave.
Thank you so much. Silas, you mentioned something that it's like you've been reading our minds with Waidaka and the team that we have here in Kenya that is putting together this kind of the concept. One of the things that Silas mentioned is about the cost effectiveness, the ability to be able to access services. We have one very senior clinical psychologist, PhD holder, who is also a lecturer in one of the big universities in Kenya, who has accepted to do pro bono whenever she'll be available. So we're working on that. As I may have mentioned, they talked about this space where we come together as broken souls, we talk to each other. If there is a need for further support, then we have now the specialist in the network. So it's called Broken Souls Network. It's a network of us broken souls. We come together. Then we have a network of psychologists, psychiatrists, therapists, counselors who will be able to support. So this particular individual has offered her services pro bono whenever she's available, and we're already putting this in place to be able to support. But the second part of that is on the cost, because not everybody can do pro bono. We don't expect everyone to do pro bono. People are working for a reason, to make some income. So for those who will need some payment, because it isn't cheap. In Kenya, it's about 6,000 per session to 10,000, depending on who you are talking to, which kind of specialist you're going to. That said, we are looking at now, I've been talking about merchandise, which we'll be pushing out very soon. The book itself is helping us to raise some of those funds. So at the moment, there's a percentage, I can't mention how much, but there's a percentage of the proceeds from the book that is being pumped into Broken Souls and Humanitarian Chronicles, so that it begins to subsidize that cost. So hopefully in the next 2-3 months, I'll be letting you know, we'll let you know how that will work, so that if you're coming into the network and you need support, then we'll have funding to at least cover you 20-30% of your cost initially, so that we see how we can at least help you get your services provided. We have other merchandise we'll be talking about. We're talking about the bookmarks, the hoodies, t-shirts, key rings and stuff like that, that you can brand with Broken Souls or Humanitarian Chronicles and stuff like that, to keep this kind of income moving into the kitty. And hopefully sometime soon we might get someone to invest in this and be able to support a bit further. We're already working on that with a few organizations, a few individuals, to be able to support this. So hopefully at some point we're able to say, okay, listen, you walk in or you make a call, the psychologist helps you, the psychiatrist, the therapist, the counselor supports you, and we will cover the cost. Hopefully. So pray for us. And for those who can support, please feel free to let us know how you can support, how you can chip in. If you are a psychologist, you're a therapist, you're a counselor, or whatever it is, you're able to support pro bono, or if not, just come to the network. We'll work out the system. Also, we are looking at including people who pray, people who are spiritually inclined, because we have people who, even no matter how much you do for them, if you don't pray for them or pray with them or let them know that you're seeking God on their behalf, they won't be satisfied with the support. So we have that category also within the network of specialists who will also be able to support you. And it's across the religion. So we won't come and tell you, you're a Muslim, you have to be prayed for by a pastor, because that's what we have. No. Or vice versa, you're a Christian, you have to be prayed for by a Muslim. Nothing wrong with that. However, there are people who are inclined to their specific religions, and we want to make sure that they feel comfortable in the person speaking to them, and also they feel comfortable in what is being provided for them in terms of prayer and spiritual support. So we have that. And for the families, the same. Families, community members will be doing some awareness creation on that, awareness sharing on that. And soon we will have a webinar. We're already working with clinical psychologists and psychiatrists, so we can do a webinar and demystify mental health, deconstruct mental health, so people understand what it is all about. People don't think it's all about madness and people getting medication, but there's this thing that happens before you get to that point of medication, and that's what we want to get to. As you said, everybody has a level of trauma. Everybody has a level of severe stress. It's how they manage it, how they cope with it, or they don't have anywhere to go. So when there's a space for them to go to and then they need further support, we will demystify that. How do you get it? Where do you get it? Who gives it to you? When do they give it to you? When do you need it? Or if there are self-help options, then we give those to you so that you are able to support yourself. You're able to self-regulate. You don't always need to go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist or a counselor. Sometimes you just breathe in and out when you go into a panic mode, or sometimes you just talk to somewhere. Sometimes you go and watch a movie, like sometimes I do, go and listen to music or write a script if that's what you do. So yeah, we're working on that, and thank you so much for raising that. Great. As we come to the tail end of this interview, one thing that I always ask everybody, and let me just confirm, two things. Number one, are you a motorbike rider? Are you a cager? Are you a rider or a cager? Because there are two options. Are you occasionally a cager and sometimes a rider, or vice versa? So cagers in Kenya, I'm sure you know, cagers are those of us who drive in cars, so that's a cage, and that's what most cyclists call us. On the other hand, so some of us, like me, I used to be a cager, occasional biker. Now I'm a biker, occasional cager. I don't have a car, that's why. Mkini buy a gari, I'll be anyway. Yeah. So are you a rider? Are you an occasional rider? Are you a full-time rider? Are you a rider for fun, a rider for impact? We are riders for impact, for example, with the team. What are you? Where are you placing yourself in that? Or are you just cage and walk? Which one?
Yeah, I think I used to be a rider way back a number of years ago. And
yes.
Yeah, that should be over 5 or 6 years back. Yeah, but now not anymore. But I think I also ride occasionally. Yeah, I write occasionally, depending on where I find myself. Yeah, so that other terminology must be a Kenyan.
Cager. You're a cager, yes. It's very Kenyan, I think.
That's a Kenyan terminology, yeah.
Yeah, that's how they used to insult us when I was driving and they were riding, hey, you cagers, and then now I'm a rider, I'm like, you cagers. So it's a swap. I'm not going to tell people, drive properly, as if I wasn't there before. And no, that's cool. In Kenya, we fist bump like that. Ngumi ni mbwegze. Jamo ni ya strangle. You don't want to know that. But that means you're a medical person. I'll tell you after the show. They know. So it's a very silly thing. It came from some song, but it's also part of our slang culture. Finally, Silas, what are your parting words to the public? Now you can speak to them. What are your parting words? What do you want to advise the public? Whether from a mental health perspective, preferably, or from just a public health perspective in general, also preferably, because all of it meshes together. And yeah, then we'll close the show.
Thank you so much, Dave, again, for hosting me here on the Humanitarian Chronicles. Since this particular conversation was about mental health, my remarks would be focused in that area.
Thank you.
Just to say that mental health is an important thing, and then mental health issues are real out there. So if you as an individual or think you know a colleague that is going through struggles, it's important that you raise up. If it's yourself who's going through such experiences, please find someone to talk to. We now have this platform. I'm sure you'll be making this very accessible, or even out there. I want to believe that there are several such initiatives out there. Do not let yourself struggle with a lot of what you're going through individually and keeps draining you, because some of the reasons sometimes we do not perform in our spaces where we work. it affects you, and then gradually from being a best performer in an environment where you work to a mediocre, that's not a good thing. So my message is, if you ever think that something is not right with your mental health, I strongly suggest that you speak up before it gets worse. Yeah, you can talk to your friend. I know there are geniuses out there. There are people who can be able to give you some perspectives to help you to come out of the situation you're in, or probably refer you to an expert who can be able to take you through processes of how you can come out. So yeah, for me is just to advise that take it seriously, take your mental health seriously, because that's all you have. Because if you do not, then it will affect you in one way or the other. And we need to live life. We need to live a quality life, and be able to perform in our respective places, in your workplaces, perform in your house, at home, and things like that. Yeah. So that's a message from me.
Wow.
To conclude this, and over to you.
Thank you so much. That is powerful. That's amazing. You've heard. Don't wait for things to get worse for you. Mental health is your responsibility, but also something you take very seriously. Deal with it as it is going on. Find someone to talk to. If you can't find someone to talk to, we are available. I already have several people that I'm talking to on the phone through this whole initiative. On that link, on the link tree, or even you scan the QR code for the link tree, it will take you to some of our contacts and the context, so you understand a bit better. It has a direct link to WhatsApp that comes to Broken Souls, and it most of the time comes to me directly. I'm already engaging a number of people, military, ex-military, medical people who are just talking to me, chatting with me, so that space again is confidential, and we're able to have discussions where they can openly tell me the things they're going through. And then occasionally we have online meetings, or we have physical meetings where we just go and say, okay, let's talk. Have a coffee, have a drink, or whatever it is, and we just talk, and people just open up. And it helps sometimes to just have someone to talk to. So we are there for you. That's what it's all about. This month especially, but not just me, this month, the rest of the year, the rest of your life, please take care of your mental health. There are people to support you. We are some of them. My parting shot, very, very simple. Umoja, Ubuntu, we all bleed red. Silas out, Rasta Doc out. Adios. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.